goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says this world can never be fun? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional. Yeah. Yeah. I'm unprofessional.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I'm your host, Webby. Joining me tonight, we got Devin.
Hey, what's up?
Devin, give me a sound check.
Bah.
That wasn't nearly as much gusto as I was hoping for.
You didn't need a sound check, you heard me.
I know, I just wanted you to make the fucked up noise again. Alright, so this week, Devin. Edited. We are going to be talking about Ready Player One, the movie, not the book. I did not read the book, neither did you. So, we're going to talk about the movie. First, let me start by saying, or by asking, what did you think, generally? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Entertaining. I agreed. It looked fun when I saw the preview. I liked all the nostalgia in it, seeing all of the pop culture references and such. I will say this movie just seemed like legit one pop culture reference ride for, what, like a 2-hour long movie? Ish. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
You didn't have to say anything?
No, you were talking still. I agree. Yeah, that was kind of the book in a way too, so it makes sense that would be a thing.
So this movie was released. When was this movie released? This movie was released March?
End of 2017 or early 18? Yeah. Right around there.
Release date, March 11th, 2018. Then March 29th, 2018, it was released in the States. I think the 11th, it was released early in Texas for a film festival.
Sounds about right.
And then it did wide release in March 29th, 2018. It was scheduled for the end of 2017, I want to say, but they didn't want to compete with Star Wars, so they pushed back the release date, which is a smart move on their part. You don't really want to butt heads with something as big as Star Wars. Now, let's go real quick. Let's talk about, we just had a brief conversation about it's the reception of this movie and how much it made. So it grossed $137 million in the United States and Canada, which isn't great, honestly. And then it did $445 million in other territories, so the rest of the world.
I don't think 2018's been great for movies, though. 100%. I think right now, a total of 500 something. It's like the 5th or 6th highest grossing movie in 2018.
But Rampage came out.
Rampage was hot garbage.
But we talked about Rampage and how much you loved it.
No. I remember me talking you into hating it.
So worldwide, it made $582 million. It had a production budget of $175 million, and then a global marketing cost of about $150 more million. Let's see, what did it go up against? Ready Player One was released alongside God's Not Dead, A Light in the Darkness, and Acrimony. Never even heard of these two movies.
Nope, men don't care.
It was projected to gross 40 to 50 million from 4,100 theaters over its first day or days. It made 12.1, so it undersold what they were projecting.
Somebody lost their job.
Yeah, that projection guy, man. He's like, oh yeah, this movie's gonna do great, and then it doesn't. It's like, well, you're out of a job. Go get a sandwich.
Ready Player Two, starring The Rock.
Starring The Rock. Yep.
Because they just throw The Rock in any movie nowadays, shitty or not. Looking at you, Rampage, and Skyscraper.
I have not seen Skyscraper yet. Have
It's
you?
not great.
Did you watch it?
I did. It's not great.
Good.
It's not great.
Oh man, The Rock, man, you need to start making better quality movies, bro.
I mean, like, I really wanted to like that movie too, but it's just not great. It's not terrible. It's not great.
Okay,
what
was better? Which was better?
Don't
No,
even ask me.
I'm not going to ask you that. Which was better, Skyscraper or the second G.I. Joe movie? Because The Rock was in that one. I don't think he was in
the second G.I. Joe movie, and then the first G.I. Joe movie, and then Skyscraper.
Oh wow, man, that hurts my heart.
The first G.I. Joe movie was at least like, it was like entertaining in a dumb, funny way. This one was just like mindless, just like they built it up like it was supposed to have a story, but it was really shallow, and it was just like a story excuse of him jumping off shit.
So was
literally it.
Was it a less story-driven Die Hard?
Very much so, with him jumping off more shit.
So he just parkours through this building
with one leg. Like it's literally just him jumping off of shit with one leg. Like that's it. And you're not talking about this movie. We're talking about it next time or another time.
Yeah,
let's go back.
I'll have to go watch this one, and then we'll do a whole Skyscraper. We're gonna have to just do like
we're gonna do this from a scaffold. We're gonna do Skyscraper from a scaffold and Gen Con. So we're gonna be sitting on the outside of a skyscraper talking about Skyscraper the movie.
Yeah. And then Devin can convince me to just jump. It's just like, this is how bad the movie really is, guys. Let's just hold hands and fall.
The last episode of SU, we just jump off a scaffold together.
That's right.
There's no end. You probably will never hear the episode unless Rob edits it. And Rob comes in, he's like, "Now I'm the host."
God damn it!
What I wanted to be all along, the host.
So I will say that this movie ended up grossing $41.8 million its opening weekend for a 4-day total of $53.7, marking Spielberg's biggest debut since 2008's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Have you seen the Crystal Skull movie?
Yep.
Was that any good? I have not watched it.
I mean, it wasn't terrible.
All right. You're gonna yell at me real bad. I think I've only seen one Indiana Jones movie.
Yes, I am gonna yell at you. What is wrong with you?
Maybe two. No, I might have seen the
Indiana
first
Jones movies are the shit in a good
one,
way too.
The first one had Sean Connery in it, right? I don't remember. I saw one with Sean Connery in it. It might have been the first one. I know I saw Temple of Doom. That one I saw when I was a kid. I think those are the only two that I saw. Anyway. Let's see. Second weekend, it grossed $25 million, a drop of 40%, finishing second behind newcomer A Quiet Place, which grossed $50 million. And then here we go, Devin. In its third weekend, the film made $11.2 million, coming in fourth behind Rampage. Ready Player One, fourth place.
Did you make mistakes?
Man, Truth or Dare beat it out. That's bad. Yeah, all right. It just kind of slowly starts dwindling off from there. As much as it doesn't seem like it made very well, it did not make an impact really in the box office. Even on Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 73% rating with an audience score of 78. I've seen worse. I've seen much better. But for me, I thought the movie was entertaining. Like, I would probably have fun watching it again down the road somewhere. It is not a movie that I necessarily watch for the plot. I don't think. The plot wasn't terrible, but I don't know. It had a couple holes in it, as far as I think. So let's getting into the plot. Let me scroll up here. Plot. So essentially, it takes place in the year like 2045, so it's in the future. Okay. Um, Earth's fucked up. Like the housing is weird and everybody's cramped together and there's a lot of like geopolitical events happening where a lot of the cities have become like slums almost forcibly. Um, and it seems like a lot of the Earth's inhabitants turn to this virtual reality world called the Oasis. Now, its co-founder and creator, James Halliday, released a video when he died, stating that inside the Oasis somewhere, he hid an Easter egg. And to get to the Easter egg, you had to get these 3 keys, which were puzzles and challenges in themselves. And then whoever got them received full ownership of the Oasis and all of Halliday's essential wealth, right? So everybody goes and hunts down this Easter egg. Like, this is a constant thing. I will say, I guess they did make it pretty notable that something important is if you're in the Oasis and you take part in any of these games or activities or whatever and you die, your avatar dies, you'll respawn, but you lose a bunch of coins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what
you lose all your shit that you had. You lose everything.
Oh, okay, so you lose everything.
It's a roguelite. That's why that one dude wanted to like jump off.
Right. And you know, if you kill somebody in like a PvP, like they have like a big one whole planet that's just essentially one big war. And when you kill somebody, you get their coins if you snag them or whatever. Anyway, that was something that I wanted to point out because they made it seem pretty important in the movie. What was the first challenge? The first challenge was the race, right?
The race.
Yeah. So they do this race, and it's a continual like once a week or once every couple of days or something like that. Everybody gets into their custom made cars or whatever, and the the main character in the movie, Parzival, drives the fucking DeLorean of all cars, right? And so you see the entirety of this race. And he's whooping some serious ass. He's playing against, his buddies in the race, and this girl on a motorcycle who he refers to as Artemis. She's racing, and then at the very end, you end up going through all like the cities and stuff, and like there's highways falling on people, and it's insane. And at the very end, right where the exit gate is to get to the end, fucking King Kong comes up. And he essentially eats everybody. Parzival stops Shy, and then he actually stops Artemis from jumping, or else she ended up losing her bike and getting it fixed. But everybody loses to King Kong. So this Parzival guy, his name is Wade Watts in the real world. He is a fanatic of this Halliday guy. Right, he has newspaper clippings. You can go into the Oasis and like there's I guess it's like a library of memories from Halliday. So you can like rewatch segments and parts of his life to get clues to where these Easter eggs are. Well, he watches something over and over and over again, and then he realizes it's a clue that instead of, for the race anyway, for that one particular challenge, instead of going forward, he needs to go back. So this guy has it in it, he goes to the race, he lets everybody else speed off, slams the DeLorean in reverse, floors it, and right as soon as he's about to hit the wall, the floor drops, and he goes onto this other track. And he ends up racing in reverse the whole way. and you can see up through the street, and you see people exploding and fucking dying. You see King Kong, right? And then he ends up coming out behind King Kong and then through the exit gate and winning the key, which puts him up on the scoreboard, which that's another big thing. They have this giant ass fucking scoreboard that's been empty forever. And then finally he gets put up on the scoreboard, and then he shares with his friends, along with Artemis, the trick to winning the race so they can also get this key. Now, I was under the impression that there was only one key per thing, but I guess it's just whoever actually completes the challenge gets a key, but then it's the first one to get 3 keys can open the door, right? Is that essentially how that worked?
Yes,
All
that is correct.
So this is where the next scene kind of is where Artemis, Percival, no, that happened before. Anyway, Percival tells Artemis that his buddy can fix her bike. You get to see this dude's workshop, or this person's workshop, right? Motherfucker's building the Iron Giant in his workshop. Yep. I fucking loved that. Fixes the bike. This guy's apparently like a mechanical genius.
Yeah,
fixes the motorcycle.
That's what that's his thing. He's the best mechanic. He makes all his money.
Yeah. So there's Percival, who's essentially just really knowledgeable and can kind of think outside the box. There's what's the friend's name?
Which one?
The mechanic.
What is his, what is his name? I can't remember.
Like Ace or Ake?
Something like that.
Heck, I don't remember.
I'm not even going to pretend to remember.
And then there's Show, who's like, in reality, you find out at the end, like, he's only like 11. He's the youngest one out of all of them.
Yes, he's my favorite person.
He plays like a samurai ninja, right? Is his avatar? He's kind of like Genji almost. Right? That's that one, right? And then there's Dido, who is the other samurai guy. One's like a ninja, the other one's like a samurai. I don't remember now. I think Show's the ninja. I think Dido's the samurai who ends up becoming the Gundam at the end because he got that cool power item.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's kind of their that's their team. They make a clan or a group or whatever. Eventually, so we end up finding out that Artemis is going against these people in the Oasis, who is part of a team who leads someone called the Sixers.
Is it Etch? AECH?
AECH, yeah. Is that how they pronounce it? Is Etch?
I can't remember how to Etch Tech. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it is AECH, yes.
Yeah, the dude's name.
So we find out that Artemis has this big fucking beef with this company called IOI, right? Which, watching it before they actually mentioned it, I think even after they mentioned it the first time, I kept saying, why do all these people have 101 written on their fucking heads? I thought it was 101, not IOI. But it stands for Innovative Online Industries. These people literally built a company to hire gamers to play in the Oasis to try to work towards getting this Easter egg, right? And so he essentially has like an army of just people at his disposal. But we find out that IOI also has essentially like they're almost like detention camps in the real world. So like if you owe them money or something, they'll come and then you legit have to do work for them in the Oasis to work off your debt, which is, I think somehow Artemis's dad or mom died that way. Or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Like basically, they just kept working.
Yeah, and like no
Until,
matter
yeah.
what, he never worked off his debt because there was always like taxes and all these like added things that they made him work for. So she wants to see this company destroyed, essentially.
hmm
So what was the second challenge?
The second challenge was The Shining.
Oh yeah, the Shining challenge, dude. That was creepy when Eck or whatever the mechanic guy walked in. He just wandered off, and like there's the two kids down at the
They're
end
all
of the
like,
hall.
you never seen The Shining?
Yeah,
was
well,
funny.
see, that's okay. This is where you're gonna yell at me again, David.
You've never seen The Shining?
No, that's one that I've read the book, never saw the movie.
Uh,
I read the book in like 6th grade, and it was like, no, this seems like it would be a creepy movie. I know a lot of the references, like Jack Nicholson with the axe through the door, obviously, and then the little kids down the hall wanting to play.
let's hurry up and wrap this up. Let's get this over with because
You
you're
want
slowly.
me to go?
No. You're slowly just killing me inside.
I'm
with all
sorry,
these
Devin.
With all these
I will-
revelations.
I will go watch. I will watch The Shining and all of Indiana Jones tonight.
That's a long time.
But yeah, it was
Also,
creepy.
while you're at it too, yeah, you're gonna sit down. You're gonna watch The Shining, and you're gonna watch Rose Red, the whole thing. It's a mini series. You're gonna watch that.
Oh, okay.
Because that Luke's death in that is the funniest shit that's ever existed.
All right. I mean, I've seen parts of The Shining. I know that. Anyway, I'm not going to justify that. It was creepy though when he wandered off and those kids were there. Then all of a sudden, there was like this massive flood of like blood in the hallway, and then he finally slipped into that other room where there was like the old lady with the knife, which it's my understanding that did not happen in the movie.
I don't think she had a knife. No,
Oh, there was
She
an
was
old
old.
lady. I don't like old ladies.
there was an old lady. She just wasn't.
Old ladies creep me out. Ever since Pet Cemetery. Yeah, anyway. So, all in all, they end up saving their friend. They start piecing together that this big Easter egg revolves around Halliday and this long-lost love of his. This girl that he was absolutely smitten with and only went on one date or something. Anyway, Artemis ends up having to dance with zombies. And that's how she ended up beating that test. We're going to skip right through that test. That was a weird test. She got the key, though. I'm assuming that because she got the key and then the other people knew how to do it, they all went through and did the rest of the test so they could all get them.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And then the third test, this is like the big lead up, is the third test you had to essentially win a game, like an old school, like an Atari game or something, right? Go back to your roots.
Nope.
And so we see throughout the movie this guy Nolan Sorrento, right, who had a real douchebag avatar. Like he was just literally like a corporate CEO looking avatar. He
looked like exactly almost like the main character, how you would look in the last Saints Row game when you became president.
Right. So he essentially hires one of my favorite characters and an actor that I fucking love. Okay. He hires IROC, this fucking pirate. Not only is he a pirate, you know he's a pirate because his chest is literally like a skull, and it has two holes in his chest for eyes and a hole in the mouth. Dude, this guy had all the loot in the game. He had so much loot. He was tasked with getting some orb or something that if you said the magic words would create like an invulnerable force field. And IROC is played by TJ Miller, who I fucking love. And he was tasked with also trying to take out Parzival. Parzival? Yeah. I'm skipping around now, aren't I? Devin, I need help. He's playing Rumble Fighter.
You're skipping. I mean, he was tasked to kill Percival. You're not wrong. I'm trying to figure out and find it. Because I don't. This is watched this like 4 weeks ago. This is like 4 weeks overdue. I was like, oh, we should do this the same week we watched it. And you're like, oh yeah, I got all this other stuff that we should do instead.
I know. Well, there was the shootout at the dance place.
No, they found after the first key, they found out who he was. They sent people after him. They tried to recruit him,
right.
And then he wound up not joining them. So they effectively killed his family.
Oh yeah, that's right. They blew up his IRL family. Like not in the Oasis, like in the slums of I forget where they lived, like
fucking Ohio
or some shit. Yeah, and they blew up the trailer, which he lived with his aunt, and then sorry, there's people. Then there was like they tried to kill him at the dance club. And he ended up using some fucking Rubik's Cube or something that turned back time for like a minute.
Yep.
And then a bunch of shit happened. I'm trying to remember. I know eventually Artemis, and they find out that his name is Wade. And so he ends up getting taken by one of Artemis's crew and brought to their secret hideout. Which then that's how they figure out the whole second task. And then after the second trial, they raid Artemis's crew, like their hideout, and Artemis shoves Wade into like this secret like chute, like garbage disposal chute thing that leads him out into the alleyway, where we find out that Eck or whatever, the big technician guy, is really a black chick, and that's when you get to meet the IRL players of Eck, Show, and Dido. And iOS or IOI takes Artemis. That's where, she ends up having to go in these detention little fucking cubes, and essentially she's doing work in the Oasis. So they go to try to rescue her. They rescue her by essentially hacking this dude's game chair because he's a dumbass and he left a sticky note with his password written down on it.
Yep, he did.
So as he's leaving the Oasis, they hack into it, making him think he left the Oasis when he didn't really.
Yep.
And they end up getting Artemis out, and then Wade ends up essentially letting out this worldwide call, right? Because they ended up going back to the van, and then they all go into the Oasis. And meanwhile, in the Oasis, there's like this giant-ass castle where the third challenge is. And it's just a big, long line of IOI members who are walking up to this small-ass little TV, grabbing this Atari stick, playing various games, getting so far, and then falling through the ice and essentially dying. They finally find the right game, and then there's just one iOS guy who's doing really good at the game, but no one can get to it and stop them because of this giant force field. So Wade ends up calling and rallying everybody in the Oasis who wants to try to help. Huge fucking fight scene out in the middle of the fucking field here where, one dude comes in as Iron Giant. This fucking Sorrento guy comes in as Godzilla, I think. Mecha Godzilla, which was insane. Chucky. Yeah, there was Chucky.
Which, greatest use of the F word in your one F word you get in a PG-13 movie of all time.
Yep.
You get one F word in PG-13 movies, and they used it on fucking Chucky.
Yep. It's fucking
It's
Chucky.
fucking Chucky.
Um,
Which I still question: was Chucky a player?
he had to have been, right? Because like,
I mean, it could have been like a Chucky item, like a Chucky bomb. You throw him and he fucking just stabs people.
Yeah, no, that's probably what it was.
I would be really cool about that item. That'd be a really dope item. I'm not gonna lie. But there was Freddy earlier. Freddy Krueger was in the first opening scene, and he got shot in the chest. And I'm like, take that.
Yeah, and then wasn't his aunt's like boyfriend Jason? Wasn't he
No,
killed on that?
his aunt's
planet?
boyfriend was I think was he Rainer from fucking StarCraft or something like that.
No, I
And
thought
then-
I thought it was.
No, he
Jason.
was like Rainer from StarCraft. The Asian dude was Jason. Because as soon as he blew up, it cut back to the real world, and then you saw him about to try to jump out the window.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because he lost fucking everything. That's right.
He was like,
Oh man.
like, relax, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot that part. Oh man, that's my new favorite scene in this movie. Man, the Asians, they take shit way too seriously. So anyway, there's this huge fucking fight, right? Out in this field. And then all of a sudden, I want to say it was Dido, who ends up using his item and becomes a giant Gundam to combat this Godzilla thing. And moving on, we won't go toe to toe with this battle essentially, but things happen. The guy gets defeated, but now, you know, some of these people, mainly the main group, have to fight all of the iOS or IOI. I keep wanting to call them iOS. IOI.
All of Apple. They fight
All of Apple. They fight all of Apple. And everybody has essentially a kill order on Parzival, right? So they're all just trying to get Parzival closer and closer and closer. Finally, it comes down to Parzival makes it to the console, and this guy, he watches the guy beats the game and still falls through the ice. They were so sure that they had the right game finally. The guy beat it, still fell through the ice. Another mini fight happens. I think that's... Does that happen before Parzival starts playing? I think it does. I think the little mini fight where the one dude, Sorrento, pulls out his fucking... essentially his planet killer bomb. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Kills everybody. But Parzival had gotten a coin.
He got a coin from, what's his name?
From the curator. The curator of the Halliday memories, because he made a bet. And this coin was a 1-up coin. It was an extra life. So Parzival got back up, started playing the game, and then he realized that the Easter egg was the very first Easter egg put into video games for this one particular video game, and that on the Atari 2600 console, he ended up having to wander around on this map. It wasn't about beating the game, it was about exploring the game. And you wander around, and if you find this little white dot, you pick it up and you bring it all the way back to the start line, and then it tells you the creator of the game in the game. And so he does, and he beats it, and he gets, the next key. And at this point, IOI has taken things into the real world, and they essentially have bounty hunters after this van, because he's doing all this while hooked up to the back of a UPS truck, essentially. So like every time the UPS truck gets hit, you see Parzival in the Oasis shaking around because his body in real life is shaking around. But he ends up getting the key. And, going through this memory with Halliday and talking to Halliday. and acquiring essentially the Oasis. But the golden egg, I believe, that the last Easter egg, quote unquote, was another challenge in itself, right? Because he said, "Oh, all of this is yours. All you got to do is sign on the line or whatever." But Wade was like, this is your biggest regret, was signing all of this away. So he refused to sign it, and that's what made him pass the final test. And then at the end, essentially, they arrest the bad guy. The kid saves the Oasis, essentially. He's now the controller and, controlling
all
property.
His friends. He splits it with all his friends.
Yep.
His clan.
Yep. And we find out that Simon Pegg, who was Halliday's partner throughout the years, has also been in the Oasis the entire time because he was the curator. And he actually stays on as part of the team for the Oasis with a yearly salary of $25, because that's what the bet was between Percival and the curator, was that token, that coin. And then, there's the big thing about how the Oasis is shut down, once or twice a week, so that way people can spend real time with real friends and real people.
It's shut down, I think, on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Which is a really odd time to shut down,
right?
Like Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, I kind of get Tuesdays because I'm a big WoW fan and just a Blizzard fan in general, and Tuesdays is maintenance day, so for half the day, the servers are all those WoW games. And
I would go like Tuesday and Sunday, so people go out and actually do outdoors. You can't. What are you going to go out on a Thursday?
Yeah, well, I don't really go out on Sunday.
I would say Saturday, but Saturday's a big gaming day.
That's a true statement. So essentially, that is Ready Player One in a nutshell. It was very entertaining. Trying to see if there were. Me and you did discuss this a little while ago. It is, I guess, open for a sequel, but they left it off on a really good spot to not make one too. Trying to see, I can't find a list of cultural references. Here we go. Several reviewers have identified well over 100 references to films, television shows, music, toys, video games, anime, and comics of these eras between the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Blah, blah, blah. Copyright. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Do you know the answer to this? Were most of the references and, I guess, guest spots in this movie all essentially under the same umbrella of ownership for copyright purposes, or do you think this movie was essentially a copyright nightmare?
Probably a copyright nightmare.
Ugh. Oh, yeah, no, okay, that's the next sentence. Spielberg and producer Christy McCosco Krieger spent several years securing the rights for the copyrighted elements used in this film. Starting before filming began, since some scenes would not be possible without certain copyrighted elements. Spielberg estimated that they had gotten about 80% of the copyrighted elements that they wanted. Spielberg noted that in some cases, the filmmakers were able to secure rights for some but not all the characters they wanted. In negotiating with Warner Brothers, they could not secure Close Encounters of the Third Kind from Columbia Pictures, despite the latter being one of Spielberg's first films as director. Blade Runner, which was integral to the plot of the book, was off limits to the film adaptation because of Blade Runner 2049 was in production at the same time as Ready Player One. As a replacement, they conceived of players having to play out the events of The Shining, which Spielberg was able to secure the rights to as an homage to his friend Stanley Kubrick. While Klein's original work heavily used the character of Ultraman, the rights over the character were still under legal dispute, requiring them to replace Ultraman with the robot from the Iron Giant. I'm glad they went Iron Giant anyway. Spielberg recognized that his past films were a significant part of the 80s popular culture cited in the book, and to avoid being accused of quote-unquote vanity, he opted to remove many of the references to his own work. Klein stated that he believed Spielberg wanted to avoid self-references to films he directed due to a criticism he received for his film 1941, which lampooned his own previous work, Jaws and Duel. Klein said he had to convince Spielberg to include some iconic elements, such as the DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future, which Spielberg conceded as the film was one he produced rather than directed. Spielberg also allowed the Tyrannosaurus Rex from his own Jurassic Park to be included. Klein, where the hell was the T-Rex in that movie?
I don't remember.
I don't recall seeing the T-Rex. And Klein also asked ILM to include a reference to Last Action Hero, one of Penn's first screenplays, without Penn's knowledge. I don't remember the reference to Last Action Hero either.
Me either.
I remember that movie. That movie was good for what it was and when it was made. You know what? Looking back on it, it probably really wasn't that great. You're going to talk me out of it, aren't you?
No, it was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Hands down, favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Go.
Honestly, Kindergarten Cop, Turbo. Well, outside of Terminator, I'm gonna go later. Like not serious, but outside of Terminator, I'm gonna go Kindergarten Cop or what you call it? Kindergarten Cop or Jingle All the Way. No.
Oh, all right. Fair. Not ones that I would have chosen. Well, Kindergarten Cop was good. I wouldn't have chosen Jingle All the Way. I'm just not a fan of Christmas.
You're not a fan of Christmas, I know.
Yeah. Staying away from Terminators, because I would have said Terminator 2 probably. I really liked, what was it, Commando was good.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had one, Twins. I like Twins. Danny DeVito.
Mm-hmm.
So, or wait, was it? Yeah. Yeah, Twins was Danny DeVito, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, that's essentially, in a nutshell, Ready Player One. We will go over, let me quickly go over the cast. We had Ty Sheridan as Parzival, or Wade Watts. You would know him possibly from other movies such as the X-Men Apocalypse movie. He played Scott Summers. And then there's Olivia Cook, played Artemis. I didn't recognize anything that she had been in. Lena Waithe played Eck, or however you pronounce that, the mechanic friend. She would probably...
It was Eck. I think it was Eck.
Eck. She would probably, based off of her IMDb, be best known for her role on Bones.
Oh yeah, wasn't she one of like the assistants later down the road?
She was a staff writer.
Oh, on Bone. Right.
Never mind. So she wasn't even a character. She was just a staff writer. I don't know anything else she's in.
Probably not. She's probably newer, but probably.
Obviously, Simon Pegg. He has a slew of popular movies. Shaun of the Dead. Um,
It's the only one that matters.
Star Trek Beyond. He plays Scotty. All the
Shaun
Star
of the Dead's
Trek.
the only one that matters.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
All the other ones pale in comparison to Shaun of the Dead.
T.J. Miller, who plays Irock the pirate. Yeah. Let's see. He does a lot of voice work. So he was in Goon the Last Enforcer, which was funny. I like that movie. Let's see. He was in Deadpool. He's Weasel in Deadpool. He's the one who called him a fucking... if a prune had sex with Freddy Krueger. Or whatever the hell that was. A dried pear. Big Hero 6. He was in that movie. He voiced in that movie. Yeah, a lot of good movies. Unstoppable. How to Train Your Dragon. He played Tough Nut. I want to know where this bad guy was from. Ben Mendelsohn. Mendelsohn?
Oh, Ben Mendelsohn? He's from some stuff. I've seen him.
He's from the upcoming Robin Hood movie that's completed in filming.
They're still trying to. Please stop. Just people, please stop. It never works out. Your best success is Robin Hood Man in Tights.
He was in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, as Orson Krennic. Oh, was he the lieutenant dude who wore all white all the time?
Possibly.
I think he was. I don't know any of these other movies. He played in The Dark Knight Rises as Daggett. That's really it. It's all the ones I can think of, anyway. Yep. All the way at the bottom. He's one of those guys, he has a familiar face, but I can never place what he's in. That's all. Yeah. All right. Well, Devin, that's all I got to say. We already said that they got a 73 and a 78 on Rotten Tomatoes. Generally all positive reviews for the most part. Even the negative, the splatter ones or whatever, are essentially still decent. It picks on the plot of the movie a little bit, but essentially says it's good for sitting down and just wanting to be entertained for a couple hours.
Which is an accurate representation of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. That was not what I wanted to do.
The one guy, Felix Vasquez Jr. from Cinema Crazed, says it's a fantastic, mind-blowing amalgam of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Tron, and The Matrix. So, all right. Well, Devin, we're going to wrap it up there. But where can people find you on the internet?
They find me at Pook Killed Me on Twitch with you every Friday and DMP_Pookie on Twitter.
There you go. And as always, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Jax Forest Walker, all one word, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/DMWebby every Friday with Devin. And email at simplyunprofessional@gmail.com or Facebook at facebook.com/simplyunprofessional. Until next time, everybody, fuck Booster Gold.
Fuck Booster Gold.
And outro.